Alpha Nerd Entertainment.
What is going on, everybody? Steve here from Alpha Nerd Entertainment. I want to thank you for dropping by the channel. Today we got a bonus video for you. Now, I was compelled to make a top 10 video here because a couple of reasons. One, those of you who know me and know the channel know that I got a lot of love and passion for video games. You know I got a lot of love and passion for retro video games. But if you all think exclusively, what is something I love more than anything else? The Sega Genesis, aka the Mega Drive for our European friends. Yes, the Sega Genesis is a system that has left a massive lasting impression on me and in my life, and I love that console very much. So I want to talk about 10 of the hardest bosses on the Sega Genesis. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm only going to talk about games that I've actually beaten. That's going to exclude games like Chicon the Forever Man or Dynamite Headdy, two games that I believe are extremely difficult with very tough end bosses, but I've never beaten them, so I'm not going to talk about them. But what I am going to talk about are 10 awesome games. Now, another quick disclaimer, you might hear some of these games and go, oh, that boss isn't that hard, or that boss isn't too difficult. Well, many of us are guilty of looking things up. I'm not accusing you, but I know in myself there have been times where I've cheated, and I've gone to the internet and I've looked things up because I was exhausted from trying many different options and many different things, trying over and over and over and failing miserably. Sometimes even just looking to see what other people are doing and finding out that I'm doing it right, I just got to do it better. So yeah, maybe some of these bosses you might think are pretty easy because you've taken the time over the past 20 years to master them, but we're not talking about these bosses from a mastered perspective. We're talking about these bosses as if it's your first time encountering them. And I think if any of you have never faced any of these bosses and it were your first time, I think you're gonna run into a whole lot of trouble. With that being said, guys, let's check out. With that being said, guys, let's check out my top 10 hardest Sega Genesis bosses.
Gargoyles, fantastic TV show, great video game, very tough game. One of the things I hate about capturing footage is when you look up a playthrough of a game, you're going to find someone who's done it to perfection. In many cases, people often edit videos together so they have a seamless, perfect looking run. Now, you have a death pit here off to your left and to your right. The game demands that you master Goliath's controls, his double jump, his downward attack. And well, RNG definitely plays a huge factor here, that though she seems to always be in the right place at the right time for this person because, well, he knows exactly what he's doing. When you play it for your first time, you're going to have anything but fun. You're going to be encountering death over and over and over. And you think it would be easy to claw your way at her here? This person may make it look easy, but it is not. This boss is definitely tedious and difficult. It's not a bad boss, it's not a great boss, but it is a tough boss. Oh boy, number 9, Thunder Fox by Data East. Now, this is a two-phased end boss. This horrible, stupid-looking yellow robot in front of you is not in the arcade version, and well, thank God it's not, because it's the only reason this boss has made the list. And the fact that simply defeating this boss without dying is nearly impossible. This is a very cheap boss, so unfortunately it's one of those ones that aren't on the list for the right reasons. It is on the list for the wrong reasons. Now, with a highly mastered and great understanding of the controls, you can do a backflip over this boss, but it is literally a pixel perfect jump where you have to flip upwards and flip downwards to avoid any damage. Also, you can't just hit this boss freely whenever you would like. You need to wait for this little fella over here, shank him with your knife, and get a grenade and not screw up. You gotta make sure you throw that grenade precisely and accurately. Once you get through this boss, things get a little bit better. So now that you defeated that horrible, stupid, 12-foot tall, yellow metal robot, you have your actual end boss here, who isn't all that brutal, though he does a serious amount of damage when he lands his shots. You're gonna want to get low and shank him in the stomach, avoid the missiles, avoid everything. No, it's still not easy. Even on easy, this boss isn't easy. There's a reason nobody's no death ran this game outside of not many people knowing about it, because it's absolutely brutal. Brutal on an unfair scale of things, but nonetheless, a very, very hard boss. A two-phase boss, a bullshit boss, but is he tough? Oh god, yes. It is a very, very annoying, very horrible end boss that almost borderline ruins the experience of Thunder Fox, but doesn't quite ruin it, because it's still a whole lot of fun. But it is definitely extremely hard. Number 8, a personal favorite of mine, Rolling Thunder 2. Now, what I like about this right here is she is very low on ammo, and that only makes things so much harder. You got a two-phase boss here. The first phase is pretty short and pretty easy. You just got to avoid its lasers as he shoots up and down and hit him a bunch of times. That alone is still not easy, but it's the easy part. Now, this is where things get difficult and tricky. Now, I like the fact that this person is out of ammo, meaning that your rate of fire is greatly compromised. And also, this person knows exactly where to stand. When you get here, you will not know exactly where to stand, and you will not fully understand his two attacks and when they're going to be high and when they're going to be low. He takes a ton of damage, and it gets very tedious and very frustrating as you patiently wait for your bullet to cross the screen. Now, naturally, you want to get here with as much ammo as possible, preferably in your MP40, but that's the hard part. Getting that good is a very difficult thing to do. Just getting here is going to be a task in itself. And if it's your first time, more than likely, you'll be completely out of ammo. And you won't have the knowledge as to where to stand, when to stand up, and you're probably going to die a lot, and instantly. It's Rolling Thunder 2, it's a wicked end boss, it's a wicked game, and it is, in fact, a very tough end boss. Number 7, Alien Soldier, released exclusively on the Sega channel, means that people from North America did get to play this on their Genesis, though it's more considered a Mega Drive game. This boss itself isn't all that difficult, but what makes this boss difficult is, how do you hit him? Will be the big question you'll be asking yourself. Now, you have a series of weapons you can use at your disposal, and you're going to use all of those and shoot him in many different locations until you finally figure out exactly what it is and what you have to do to defeat him. Now, this boss has a lot of different attacks, including throwing you sky high in the air, raining some crazy laser beams down on you. He can kill you very quickly. It's going to take a bit of time and a bit of patience for you to wear him down. And when you figure it out, he will become easy. But a big part of the challenge in defeating this boss is exactly figuring out how you do the damage and then getting it done. Alien Soldier, number 7, tough boss. No Genesis top 10 end boss would be complete without Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Death Egg Zone, and the Death Egg Robot. Now, the Metal Hedgehog here needs to be included because he's basically a first form. Now, you obviously have no rings, and I think everybody knows about this boss. And though we've all gotten quite good at it, what makes this difficult is that you need to land 20 shots in a row, never screwing up once. Yeah, the Metal Hedgehog takes 8, and the Death Egg Robot takes 12. Well, that's 20 big shots that you need to do properly and with no failure. Otherwise, you're just going to instantly die and start all over again. Now, for me, this boss is relatively easy. However, there is a very specific technique on how you jump with Sonic. You can't just jump all carelessly. You literally need to press upwards. If you have any kind of horizontal movement in your jump, you're going to land on those finger spikes and instantly die. As a kid, this screwed us up a lot. It screwed me up a lot, and I was never quite sure of that sweet spot, and that sweet spot is still a lot more difficult than you would expect. It also requires a ton of patience, unless you're going to be extremely aggressive, which is probably not a good bet, because all it takes is being off by 1 millimeter, 1 pixel, and you're going to land into those spikes and instantly die. This is an iconic Genesis boss, and well, the game might be easy, but the boss technically isn't. Oh, what's in store for number 5? How about some Rocket Knight Adventures? Now, this boss isn't that difficult, but it is. You got this anti-gravity room now all of a sudden where your gaming mechanics and jumping has changed significantly. You float around all willy-nilly, and you got this annoying weird little punching bag that just appears on random all over the place. Now, you, Sparkster, can take a lot of hits, but you're probably going to get hit a lot. And now the difficult thing about this is patience. Getting through it and finally landing those shots. There are many different strategies you can use on jumping in and around and diving across, but a lot of them are going to result in you taking hits. And if that isn't enough, well, once you beat this, there's a little bit more. You're going to fall through the atmosphere in space and desperately hope that you don't get hit once or twice, because if you do, you're going to go right back to facing this horribly annoying boss with the punching bag. And nobody likes it. It's no fun at all. The game is absolutely fantastic, and I don't hate the end boss. And well, I'm pretty good at the end boss now, but there's no denying that if you get here for your first time, you're going to be getting beat a lot, and it's going to drive you nuts. Now, this one might be considered a little bit controversial because the game isn't all that difficult, but that's not how I'm judging this boss. Mr. X, to put it lightly, does not fuck around. If he isn't shooting you with his machine gun, he is going to smash the end of that gun so hard into your face that you'll be seeing stars for a week. Mr. X is absolutely brutal. He is aggression personified. He is an absolute savage, and he's not slow either. He zips around faster than Sonic the Hedgehog, and he brings the pain. If you can get to this boss and beat him without dying, I salute you. Because I think I could no death run this game all the way until Mr. X. Because he just hits like an absolute Mack truck. And his minions do not help in any way. They distract you, they get in your way, and they'll throw your timing off, allowing him to smash you in the face with that gun and just bringing an end to you as quickly as possible. Sure, if you got continues and multiple men, you're gonna get through him. It's a beat 'em up. Absolutely. You got a couple of men to your disposal, you're gonna win. But that's not how I'm judging him. I'm judging him on how can you go him 1 for 1. 1 life of yours versus his 1 life. How you gonna do? It's probably not gonna turn out well for you. Mr. X is an underrated, difficult end boss, and like I said, he doesn't fuck around, and he brings the pain. Ugh. Echo the Dolphin, the Vortex Queen. This boss is absolutely no joke. Probably should be number 1. There are many different things about this boss that make it horribly difficult. First thing that comes to mind is the fact that if it kills you in any way, you are sent back to the machine. The machine is a 5.5 minute long gauntlet of maze and auto-scrolling hell. Given that you don't get sent back there, you better be careful and better know what to do. Well, let's pretend it's your first time. You're not going to know what to do. You're going to die almost instantly. But if you continue to play and try and learn, and somehow the game hasn't ripped your soul from your chest and exhausted you by making you go through the machine over and over and over, or perhaps you're just a cheater who said, screw it, I don't care, I'll use a save state and just figure it out and not deal with all that nonsense, because it's not 1992 anymore. Whatever your prerogative is and how you want to play is your choice. All I know is that this boss is brutal. You gotta destroy its eyeballs, and you gotta be careful because when you shoot its eyeballs, these weird things come off of it and they do a lot of damage. And guess what? Your health doesn't regenerate. Your health regenerates in the levels previous leading up to this. And you start to get accustomed to that and you take your time to recover. Not here. You take damage and you're just fucked. There's no going back. So you destroy those eyeballs. Now you start attacking the jaw. Well, you break it off once and you think, hey, I just broke its jaw. I watched it fall off. That's got to be good, right? Wrong, because it regenerates the jaw. So you got to what? Break it again? You keep breaking its jaw over and over and over until it never regenerates another fucking jaw. And then you know that you've done good things. But guess what? It's still not over. Also, don't swim up because the little xenomorphs will come out and attack. But don't swim too low either, because those weird little green booger things that come out from the walls will hit you and do damage. You finally remove the jaw? Wonderful. Don't get hit by anything, or else you're gonna fucking die. Now hit this thing 3 times and call it a day. The fucking Vortex Queen is a epic end boss that few people have beat legit. In a game few people have defeated. I'm a fan of Echo the Dolphin. I'm a fan of the Vortex Queen. And there's one thing for sure, it is a brutally difficult end boss. Okay, so I got a little bit of PTSD from the number 2 spot here, High Seas Havoc. Now, I hate that the footage I've captured is a person who's mastered this game inside and out. They jump oh so perfectly, dodging all those meteors. And even when they hit him aggressively, they don't even seem to bounce off into any of the meteors either, which is annoying to watch because that happened to me over and over and over. And well, this little seal can only take about 5 hits before he's dead. Oh well, guess what? Now he's gone golden. Now he's gone Super Saiyan, and the sky rains more terror, more meteors, bigger meteors, and by the dozens. And trust me, you're gonna get hit 5 times very, very quickly. This is a person who knows the game inside and out. And guess what? He has 56 men to his disposal there. And he has those for a reason. Because he's probably died several times leading up to this. Now, you're not going to know this game. And if you're going to get here with 3 or 4 or 5 men, if you get here with 20 or 30 men, you're going to get game over. And it's going to discourage you. Because once you get game over, you'll only have 3 men to get back here. I'm annoyed by how quickly this person defeated it. I suggest playing defensively. He played aggressive, but he knows the game oh so well. High Seas Havoc's end boss is brutal. Now, the number 1 spot might be controversial, but I do not think so, because I'm putting myself in the shoes of somebody who's never played this game before. And I've seen some people pose to play this game blind. Well, I really do not think that's the case, because if you get here, you're going to be demoralized by a couple of different things. One, if you use a continue in this game, your life bar will be cut down half or more. So kiss that big giant life bar goodbye. You best get here and not use a continue. Secondly, you better have a shield. In fact, you better have 2 shields. So you better have 2 ninjutsu. And guess what? Both of them are hidden very well. One is hidden very well. So without the knowledge of looking things up, a blind person getting here is going to be bare bones, and they're going to die and being left wondering what the hell they can possibly do. Because without your power-up, Neo Z takes a near infinite amount of hits. When you have that power-up, he can be killed very quickly and very easily. Like many bosses, when you know what to do, or many games when you know what to do, they become very easy. But these tricks are often stolen from the internet and not discovered. I do question many people when they do things luckily and quickly. This boss is a very difficult boss for any new player. And this boss is awesome, and this game is incredible. But I tell you, you get here bare bones, without that power up and 2 shields, you are going to die and never win. You will not win until you discover the ins and outs. I guess that could be said about any game. But Revenge of Shinobi is my number 1 hardest boss for the Sega Genesis. Hey everybody, I hope you like this video. I just scratched this one together in less than an hour. So if you like this kind of quick, cheap, easy content, smash the like button and leave a comment and let me know your thoughts.